So, dear students, in the last class we were studying what is free energy change. Free energy change is the resultant effect of both enthalpy and entropy. So, it is the only physical quantity that decides whether the process is spontaneous or not. If delta H is negative, the process is spontaneous. Yes. If delta S is positive, the process is spontaneous. So, the resultant of delta H and delta S is given by Gibbs energy equation. G is equal to H minus Ts. So, here H is enthalpy, S is entropy and T is absolute temperature and G is free energy. So, free energy is also a state function and an extensive property, depends upon the initial and final state of the system and also the quantity of matter present in the system. It cannot be the absolute value of free energy of a system cannot be measured, but the change in free energy when a system changes from one state to another state can be measured. That is, delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. This equation is very important. That is, this equation is called Gibbs equation. Simply, if you asked to write Gibbs equation, you have to write delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. If you ask write free energy equation or Gibbs free energy equation, then you have to write G is equal to H minus Ts. If delta G is negative, the process is spontaneous. If delta G is positive, the process is non-spontaneous. If delta G is equal to 0, the process is in equilibrium. So, the resultant effect of delta H and delta S decides the value of delta G. And then coming to the statement of second law of thermodynamics and the third law of thermodynamics. What is second law? All spontaneous processes are thermodynamically irreversible. All spontaneous processes are thermally irreversible means all processes are irreversible. All spontaneous processes are irreversible processes. Second method of stating second law is spontaneous process are accompanied by increase in free energy, increase in entropy. So, during spontaneous processes, entropy of the system increases. So, this is second method. And also, in the universe, the entropy or disorderness or randomness is increasing continuously. These are the three methods or three ways of stating second law of thermodynamics. So, the last law or the third law of thermodynamics, as you know, when the temperature of a system decreases, entropy also decreases. If the temperature increases, entropy or disorderness of the system increases. You know this, what is the effect of temperature on entropy? Suppose if a system is cooled to minus 273 degrees centigrade or 0 Kelvin, what happens? The entropy of the system becomes 0. When the temperature is decreased, entropy decreases. If the temperature is decreased to minus 273 degrees centigrade, minus 273.15 degrees centigrade is also called as 0 Kelvin. So, the scale, Kelvin scale starts from minus 273.15 degrees centigrade. So, at 0 Kelvin, the entropy of a perfectly crystalline solid is 0. That is the statement of third law. So, the third law can be defined as at absolute 0 or at 0 Kelvin, the entropy of a perfectly crystalline solid is 0. At this temperature, all kinds of motions of particles ceases, whether it is a rotational motion, vibrational motion, transitional motion, whatever it may be. So suppose this is a solid, it consists of atoms or very small particles. Even though it is a solid, at this state the atoms or molecules are vibrating, rotating, translating. All these motions are there, still there. If this substance is cooled to 0 Kelvin, all these motions stops. At this temperature, the entropy of the system also becomes 0. That is the statement. At absolute 0, the entropy or disorderness of a system of a perfectly crystalline solid is 0. So now we will do one or two problems on this chapter. So problems on thermodynamics, important formulae. So number 1, what is first law of thermodynamics? First law of thermodynamics, that is delta U is equal to Q plus W, where delta U equals change in internal energy, Q is equal to amount of heat absorbed by the system, and W is equal to work done on the system. So if work is done on the system, W is positive. If it is work done by the system, then you have to take W as minus. So this is first law of thermodynamics. So second formula, the work done during irreversible expansion of a gas, W is equal to minus P into V2 minus V1. So P equals constant pressure, V1 equals initial volume, and V2 is equal to final volume. So third formula, the total work done during isothermal reversible process or expansion of a gas, total work done during isothermal reversible expansion of a gas. So that is W is equal to minus 2.303 nRT log V2 by V1. W is equal to minus 2.303 nRT log V2 by V1, or W is equal to minus 2.303 nRT log P1 by P2. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ P2 by P1 ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಈ ಈಕ್ವೇಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಮೈನಸ್ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ n equals number of moles, R equals gas constant, its value is equal to 8.314 joule per Kelvin per mole, and then T equals absolute temperature. ಸೊ ಟೆಂಪ್ರೇಚರ್ ಯಾವುದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೋಬೇಕು, ಕೆಲ್ವಿನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೋಬೇಕು. ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಸೆಂಟಿಗ್ರೇಡಲ್ಲಿದ್ದರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಕೆಲ್ವಿನ್ಗೆ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಸೊ V1 ಈಕ್ವಲ್ಸ್ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲ್ ವಾಲ್ಯೂಮ್, V2 ಈಕ್ವಲ್ಸ್ ಫೈನಲ್ ವಾಲ್ಯೂಮ್, P1 ಈಕ್ವಲ್ಸ್ initial pressure and P2 equals final pressure. So these are some of the formula. And fourth one, the relationship between delta H and delta U in case of gaseous reaction. Delta H is equal to delta U plus RT delta N. The relationship between delta H and delta U for gaseous reaction. Delta H enthalpy change, delta U internal energy change, R is gas constant, T equals absolute temperature, and delta N equals number of gaseous moles of product, Pg, number of gaseous moles of products, minus PR, number of gaseous moles of reactants. Number of gaseous moles of products, so this is number of gaseous moles of products minus number of gaseous moles of reactants. ಈ ಥರ ಬೇಕಾದರೂ ಬರ್ಕೋಬೋದು. Number of gaseous moles of products minus number of gaseous moles of reactants. So we will do one or two problems on this equation and these equations. Write down problem number 1. What is the change in internal energy of a system? Internal energy of a system, that is delta U, if 20 joules of heat is supplied to it, and 25 J of work is done by it. What is the change in internal energy of a system delta U if 20 joules of heat is absorbed by the system and 25 joules of work is done by the system? So what is the expression we have to use? Delta U is equal to Q minus W. Here work is done by the system, therefore you have to write minus W. Q equals amount of heat supplied to it or amount of heat absorbed by the system. So Q is equal to 20 joules, and then W is equal to 25 joules. Work is done by the system. So if it is by the system, we have to use this equation, delta U is equal to Q minus W. Work done by the system. Work done by the system. So then what is delta U is equal to Q means 20 minus 25, that is equals minus 5 joules. Delta U is equal to minus 5 joules. Minus 5 joules. So this is first problem. What is the second problem? Calculate the work done. Calculate the work done when a gas expands. Calculate the work done when a gas expands against the external pressure. So external pressure is always constant. External pressure of 110 atmospheres from volume of 0.5 liter to 2 liters. 2 liters. What is the change? What is the change in calculate the work done when a gas expands against the external pressure of this is not 110, 1.10 atmospheres from volume of 0.5 liters to 2 liters. What is so this problem, you strike it off. Problem number 2, calculate the work done. Calculate the work done when a gas expands at a constant temperature. At a constant temperature from volume 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meter cube. 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meter cube to 4 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meter cube. at a constant pressure of 1.2 into 10 to the power of 5 Newton to the power of minus 2 Newton meter to the power of minus 2. So here we have to calculate the work done when a gas expands at a constant temperature from volume 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3 to 4 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meter cube at a constant pressure of 1.2 into 10 to the power of 5 Newton to the power of Newton meter to the power of minus 2. So the work done W is equal to minus P V2 minus V1. So here what is P is equal to, so P is the external constant pressure, so P is equal to 1.2 into 10 to the power of 5 Newton meter to the power of minus 2. Then what is V1? V1 is the initial volume. So constant from volume, initial volume is 2 into 10 to the power of 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meter cube. Final volume 4 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meter cube. Then what is V2 minus V1? V2 minus V1 is equal to 4 into 10 to the power of minus 3 minus 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3, that is equals 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meter cube. So W equals minus of P 1.2 into 10 to the power of 5 into what is V2 minus V1, 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meter cube. meter cube. So this is equals minus 10 to the power of 5, 10 to the power of minus 3, this is 10 to the power of 2. 2 into 2, 4.2. 2.4 into 10 to the power of 10 to the power of 3. 2.4 into 10 to the power of 5 minus 2 is 5 minus 3 is 2. 2.4 into 10 to the power of 2 Newton meter. This is also equal to minus 2.4 into 10 to the power of 2 joules, because joules equals Newton meter. So this is another problem. So next I will give you the third problem. Calculate the total work done when 1 mole of a gas expands isothermally and reversibly. isothermally and reversibly from an initial volume of 20 dm cube to final volume of 40 dm cube at 298 Kelvin. At 298 Kelvin. So this is the problem. Calculate the total work done when 1 mole of a gas expands isothermally and reversibly from an initial volume of 20 dm cube to final volume of 40 dm cube at 298 Kelvin. So here you have asked the total volume, total work done. So for that we have to use the expression the total work done, W is equal to minus 2.303 nRT log V2 by V1. So this formula we have to use. Here N equals number of moles, 1 mole of a gas, N equals 1, and then R equals gas constant, that is equals 8.314 joule per Kelvin per mole, or T equals 298 Kelvin absolute temperature. V1 is initial volume 20 dm cube, V2 final volume 40 dm cube, 40 dm cube. So substituting in this formula, what is the total work done? This is minus 2.303 into 1 into 8.314 into 298 into log of 40 divided by 20. So this is equals minus 2.303 into 1 into 8.314 into 298 into, this is log of 2, log of 2. So you don't know how to see the logarithm. So logarithmic book is there. So under that logarithm of 2 value will be given. I will tell you how to look at the logarithmic values when you come to the colleges. I will now write down logarithm of 2 equals. So here there is a single digit. For a single digit you have to write the characteristic value 0. If the digit is a single digit, you have to write the characteristic 0 point. If you look at the value at 20 ನೋಡಬೇಕು ನೀವು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ 3010 20 ನಲ್ಲಿ 0 ಗೆ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ 3010 ಬರುತ್ತೆ. So this is the value of logarithm of 2. This is minus 2.303 into 1 into 8.314 into 298 into 0.3010. So if you simplify this one, you will get the value minus 1717 0.46 joule per mole. Joule per mole. So this is how we have to do these problems are important. So problem will be asked on this formula, W is equal to minus 2.303 nRT log V2 by V1. So, and I will give you another problem. So, if volume is given, you have to use this formula. So, instead of volume, if pressure is given, we have to use another formula. So, write down 2 moles, problem number 4, this is also important. 2 moles of an ideal gas. 2 moles of an ideal gas initially at 27 degrees centigrade and 1 atmospheric pressure and 1 atmospheric pressure are compressed isothermally and reversibly. Isothermally and reversibly to the final pressure, of the gas is 10 atmospheres. Stop. Calculate W, Q and delta U. Calculate W, Q and delta U. So here two moles of an ideal gas. So what is N is equal to 2 moles. What is R equals 8.314 joule per Kelvin per mole. So we have to use the formula total work done W is equal to, since pressure is given, we have to write P1 divided by P2. P1 divided by P2, or W is equal to 2.303 nRT log P2 divided by P1. So here minus sign has been removed. So N equals 2, R equals 8.314 joule per Kelvin, T equals 27 degrees centigrade plus 273, that is equals 300 Kelvin. So it is given in degrees centigrade, you have to convert it into Kelvin by adding 273. And then what is P1 is equal to 1 atmosphere, P2 is equal to 10 atmosphere. So this is the data given, you have to substitute 2.303 nRT log P2 by P1. What is N is equal to 2, R is equal to 8.314, T is equal to 300 into logarithm of P2 is 10 divided by 1. So this is equals 2.303 into 2 into 8.314 into 300 into logarithm of 10. So logarithm of 10 equals, here it is 2 digits. You have to write the characteristic 1. So characteristics in ಬರೆಯುವಾಗ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋ ಡಿಜಿಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಯಿಂಟಿಂದ ಈಚೆಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಡಿಜಿಟ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ 4 ಡಿಜಿಟ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ರೈಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸ್ 3 ಡಿಜಿಟ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ 2 ಡಿಜಿಟ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ 1 ಡಿಜಿಟ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ 0. ಸೊ 0 ಇದ್ದರೆ 0 ಒಂದು ಡಿಜಿಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಬಾರ್ 1. ಸೊ 0 ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ 1 ಇದ್ದರೆ ಡಿಜಿಟ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಬಾರ್ 2. ಇದನ್ನು ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಬರ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 10 ಅಂದರೆ 2 ಡಿಜಿಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. 2 ಡಿಜಿಟ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಬರಬೇಕು 1 ಬರಬೇಕು. 10ಕ್ಕೆ ಲಾಗರಿಥಮ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ 0 0 0 0 10 ಆಮೇಲೆ 0 ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಟೆಲ್ ಯು ಹೌ ಟು ಗೆಟ್ ದಿ ಲಾಗರಿಥಮ್ ಟೇಬಲ್. ಸೊ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ 1 ಲಾಗ್ 10 is equal to ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ 1 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. 2.303 into 2 into 8.314 into 300 into 1. So if you simplify all these things, you will get the value 11,488.3 joules. So this is W. Then for an isothermal process, so since the process is isothermal process, temperature is constant, therefore delta U, change in internal energy, is equal to 0. For an isothermal process, temperature is constant. When the temperature is constant, the change in internal energy delta U is equal to 0. So then what is delta U is equal to Q plus W. So here W is positive, work is done on the system, therefore W is equal to what? So Q is equal to minus W. So that is equals minus 11,488.3 joules. So this one is Q. Q is equal to minus 11,488.3 joules. So we have calculated W, we have calculated delta U, we have calculated Q. So this is how we can calculate work, heat and change in internal energy. So these are all the some of the problems regarding first law, thermodynamics. So now the chapter thermodynamics has been completed. So next we will switch on to the next chapter, states of matter. So the third chapter, states of matter. So in the first chapter I told you what is a matter. Anything which occupies a space and has got mass is called a matter. So what are the states of matter? The three physical states of matter are solids, liquids and gases. So in this chapter we will study something about gases. So first write down what are the three states of matter. What are the three states of matter? Write down the three physical states of matter, or the three physical states of matter are: number one, solid; number two, liquids; and number three, gases. Solids, liquids and gases. All are the three, these are the three physical states of matter. A matter can be either a solid or a liquid or a gas. Coming to what are the factors that decides the state of a matter? The factors that decides the state of a matter, the factors which determine the states of matter are: next write down what are the factors that determine the state of a substance of matter. So what are the factors? So the state of a matter, or the state of existence of a matter, depends upon the following two factors. So I will tell you the example. Suppose this is a matter or a substance. It consists of very small particles. These are the particles. The particles may be atoms, molecules or ions. So these are particles. Particles may be atoms, may be molecules, etc. So the state of a matter, that means whether the substance or system is in liquid state, solid state or in gaseous, depends upon what? The state of a matter depends upon mainly two factors. Number one, intermolecular forces. Intermolecular forces. ಈ ಆಟಮ್, ಈ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ಗಳ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಇಂಟರ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಫೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಇಟ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಅಪಾನ್ ದ ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಆಫ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ದ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಅಪಾನ್ ಟೂ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್, ನೇಮ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಇಂಟರ್ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಫೋರ್ಸಸ್ಸಿನ ಮೇಲೆ, ಒಂದು ವಸ್ತುವಿನ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ, ಒಂದು ಮ್ಯಾಟರಿನ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ, ಎರಡು ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ನಂಬರ್ ಒನ್, intermolecular forces, and number 2 thermal energy. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ intermolecular forces ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು? The force of attraction or repulsion between the molecules is known as intermolecular forces. It is also called as interacting forces ಅಂತಲೂ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Interacting forces. So ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್ಗಳ ಅಥವಾ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ಗಳ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ರಿಪಲ್ಸಿವ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಇಂಟರ್ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಫೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಆ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ? ದ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಪೊಸೆಸ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ದಿ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ದೇರ್ ಮೋಷನ್. The energy possessed by the particles due to their motion. ಮೋಷನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು? ಅದು ವೈಬ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ರೊಟೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ಆಕ್ಸಿಲೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. ಇವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮೋಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಆ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ಗಳ ಮೇಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿಯ ಮೇಲೆ ಆ ವಸ್ತುವಿನ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಆ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್ಗಳ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಆ ಒಂದು ವಸ್ತುವಿನ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಫಿಸಿಕಲಿ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ 3 states ಆಫ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್. ಒಂದು ಸಾಲಿಡು, ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡು, ಗ್ಯಾಸಸ್. ಆ ವಸ್ತು ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಆಗಿರಬೇಕಾ, ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಆಗಿರಬೇಕಾ, ಗ್ಯಾಸಿಯಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬೇಕಾ ಅನ್ನೋದು 2 ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದು ಇಂಟರ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಫೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ದ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನಂಬರ್ 2 ಲ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಆಫ್ ದ ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಆಫ್ ದ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ದ ಇಂಟರ್ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಫೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸನ್ನು ಹತ್ತತ್ರ ತಗೊಂಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಇಂಟರ್ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಫೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಬ್ರಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ದ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಲೋಸರ್ ಟು ಈಚ್ ಅದರ್. ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ಇಟ್ ಕೀಪ್ಸ್ ದ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಅವೇ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಈಚ್ ಅದರ್. ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದರೆ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ಗಳು ದೂರ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂದರೆ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಹತ್ತತ್ರ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೇ ಥರ ಇಂಟರ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಫೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂದರೆ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಹತ್ತತ್ರ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಇಂಟರ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಫೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂದರೆ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸು ದೂರ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸು ಹತ್ತತ್ರ ಬಂದು ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದರೆ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತವೆ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ದೂರ ಹೋದರೆ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತವೆ, ಇನ್ನೂ ದೂರ ಹೋದರೆ ಗ್ಯಾಸಸ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಒಂದು ವಸ್ತುವಿನ ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಯಾವುದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? ಮೇನ್ಲಿ ದ ಇಂಟರ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಫೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನಂಬರ್ 2 ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ. ಸೊ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ? ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ಡಿಟರ್ಮಿನ್ ದ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್? ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್. ರೈಟ್ ಡೌನ್ ದ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ determine the state of a substance are number 1 intermolecular forces. ಈ intermolecular forces ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? keeps the particles closer to each other. What is the second factor that determines the state of a matter? Thermal energy. ಸೊ ಈ 2 ಫೋರ್ಸ್ಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ವಸ್ತುವಿನ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ. ಸೊ ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ಕೀಪ್ಸ್ ದ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಅವೇ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಈಚ್ ಅದರ್. OTHER. ಸೊ ಈಗ ಇಂಟರ್ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ಇಂಟರ್ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಫೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಕೀಪ್ಸ್ ದ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಲೋಸರ್ ಟು ಈಚ್ ಅದರ್. ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಕೀಪ್ಸ್ ದ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಅವೇ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಈಚ್ ಅದರ್. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ದ ಇಂಟರ್ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಫೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್ ಗ್ರೇಟರ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ, ದಿ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್. ಇಂಟರ್ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಫೋರ್ಸಸ್ಸು ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸನ್ನು ಹತ್ತಿರ ತಗೊಂಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸನ್ನು ದೂರ ತಗೊಂಡೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಹತ್ತಿರ ಬಂದರೆ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ಸು, ದೂರ ಹೋದರೆ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ಸು. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ದ ಇಂಟರ್ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಫೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್ ಗ್ರೇಟರ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ, particles are very close to each other and the state of the substance is a solid. So if the intermolecular forces are slightly greater than thermal energy, the substance will be in the liquid state. If the intermolecular forces are very much smaller than thermal energy, the substance will be in the gaseous state. Is it not? So, write down. Thus, the state of existence, thus the state of existence of a substance, state of existence of a substance is the resultant of these two factors. ಸೊ ಒಂದು ವಸ್ತುವಿನ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಯಾವುದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? ಇಟ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಅಪಾನ್ ದ ರಿಸಲ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದೀಸ್ ಟು ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್. ಯಾವುದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆಯೋ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ದಸ್ ಇಫ್ intermolecular forces are very much greater than thermal energy, if the intermolecular forces are very much greater than thermal energy, the substance is in the solid state. This is condition number 1. Condition number 2, if the intermolecular forces are slightly greater than, if the intermolecular forces are slightly greater than thermal energy, ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? The substance is in the liquid state. If the intermolecular forces are less than thermal energy, third point, if the intermolecular forces are less than thermal energy, the substance is in the gaseous state. So the state of a substance, the state of existence of a substance depends upon the two factors, namely intermolecular forces. Second one is thermal energy. So if the intermolecular forces are very much greater than thermal energy, the substance will be in the solid state. If the intermolecular forces are slightly greater than thermal energy, the substance will be in the liquid state. If the intermolecular forces are very much less than thermal energy, the substance will be in the gaseous state. These two factors are related as, say for example, solid, liquid, and this is gas. Solid, liquid, and gas. So intermolecular forces ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? decreases. Intermolecular forces decreases as you move from solid to liquid, liquid to gases. So intermolecular ಯಾವುದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ, ಸಾಲಿಡಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಟರ್ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಫೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ, ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಗ್ಯಾಸಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಇಂಟರ್ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಫೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಟು ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್, ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಟು ಗ್ಯಾಸಸ್. ಸೊ ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ನಂಬರ್ 2, thermal energy. Thermal energy increases. Thermal energy increases in this direction. ಯಾವ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನಲ್ಲಿ? ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಇಂದ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ಗೋ, ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಇಂದ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ಗೆ ಹೋದರೆ ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ಗಿಂತ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ಗೆ ಹೋದರೆ ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸಸ್ ಸಾಲಿಡಿಂದ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ಗೆ, ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ಗಿಂತ ಗ್ಯಾಸಸ್ಗೆ. ಸೊ ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಆಫ್ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಈಸ್ ಲೆಸ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್, ವಿಚ್ ಈಸ್ ಲೆಸ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ ಗ್ಯಾಸಸ್. Similarly, intermolecular forces is higher than solid, higher than liquid. Intermolecular forces is greater than liquids. So this is the order of intermolecular forces. Intermolecular forces decreases from solid to gas. That means intermolecular force of attraction is high in solid, decreases in liquid, still decreases in gases. Thermal energy of solids is least. So thermal energy increases from solid to liquid, liquid to gases. So the state of a substance depends upon the resultant effect of these two factors, namely intermolecular forces and thermal energy. So ultimately we can conclude that the state of a substance or matter depends upon two factors, namely intermolecular forces. Intermolecular forces keeps the molecules closer. Thermal energy keeps the molecules away from each other. The physical state of a substance is the resultant effect of these two factors, namely intermolecular forces and thermal energy. So in the next classes we will study in detail what are intermolecular forces, what are the types of intermolecular forces, and then thermal energy, etc. So this is enough for today. So we will continue in the next class.